In the heart of Stockholm, Sweden, a city known for its serene beauty and rich history, a seemingly ordinary day in August 1973 took a dramatic turn. The streets were bustling with people going about their daily routines, unaware that they were about to witness an event that would make headlines around the world. Jan Erik Olsson, a parolee with a troubled past, had a plan that would forever change the lives of those involved. Olsson, who had a history of criminal activity, was determined to make a quick fortune. He attempted to rob the Credit Bank at Norrmalmstorg Square, a prominent location in the city. The bank, a symbol of financial stability, was about to become the epicenter of a crisis. Armed and dangerous, Olsson's plan quickly unraveled. His initial confidence gave way to desperation as the situation spiraled out of control, leading to a hostage situation that would captivate the world. News of the unfolding drama spread rapidly, drawing the attention of media outlets and curious onlookers, and introduce a perplexing psychological phenomenon, Stockholm Syndrome. This term would come to describe the inexplicable bond that can form between captors and their captives. Olsson's initial objective was straightforward: get in, get the money, and get out. However, the reality of the situation proved to be far more complex. He took 4 bank employees hostage, 3 women and 1 man, using them as leverage to negotiate his demands. The hostages, initially terrified and fearing for their lives, were thrust into a situation that would test their psychological resilience. Olsson threatened their lives and demanded a hefty ransom, hoping to secure his escape and a new beginning. The police responded swiftly, surrounding the bank and cutting off all escape routes for Olsson. The authorities were determined to end the standoff without further bloodshed. The streets around the bank were cordoned off, and a tense atmosphere settled over the area. The police set up a perimeter, ensuring that Olsson had no way out. What ensued was a tense standoff, lasting 6 days and captivating the nation. The world watched with bated breath as the drama unfolded, each day bringing new developments and heightened emotions. The negotiators, tasked with resolving the crisis, worked tirelessly to communicate with Olsson. They hoped to find a peaceful resolution that would ensure the safety of the hostages. The negotiators and police officers discussed various strategies, weighing the risks and potential outcomes of each decision. Every move was critical, as the lives of the hostages hung in the balance. Inside the bank, a far more complex and unsettling dynamic was unfolding. The hostages, initially terrified and fearing for their lives, began to experience a range of emotions that defied logic. The fear and anxiety that gripped them slowly gave way to a strange sense of empathy and even attachment towards their captor. This emotional shift was both baffling and disturbing. The hostages would soon begin to experience a baffling shift in their emotions, a shift that would puzzle psychologists and forever alter our understanding of human behavior under extreme duress. They started to see Olsson not just as a threat, but as a complex individual with his own struggles and motivations. This phenomenon, later termed Stockholm Syndrome, would become a subject of intense study and debate among psychologists. It challenged existing theories about human behavior and survival instincts. The hostages' emotional journey, from fear to a perplexing bond with their captor, highlighted the complexities of the human psyche. It raised questions about the nature of trauma, resilience, and the ways in which people cope with extreme stress. As the standoff came to an end, the world was left to grapple with the implications of what had transpired. The hostages were freed, but the psychological impact of their ordeal would linger for years to come. Today, Stockholm stands as a testament to resilience and recovery. The events of August 1973 are a reminder of the complexities of human behavior and the enduring impact of trauma. The term Stockholm Syndrome continues to be studied and analysed, offering insights into the human condition and the ways in which we respond to extreme situations. It serves as a powerful example of the unexpected ways in which the mind can adapt and survive. As we reflect on the events that unfolded in the heart of Stockholm, we are reminded of the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring quest to understand the mysteries of the mind. The hostages' initial hours inside the bank vault were nothing short of terrifying. Olsson, volatile and unpredictable, brandished his weapon and issued threats, reminding them of their precarious situation. The hostages, stripped of their freedom and facing an uncertain fate, clung to the hope of survival, their minds racing with fear and uncertainty. Confined to a cramped space, the hostages endured stifling heat and the constant threat of violence. Sleep was a luxury they could ill afford, constantly on edge, dreading Olsen's next move. Food and water were scarce, adding to the physical and psychological strain they were under. As days turned into nights, the hostages' initial terror began to give way to a strange mix of emotions. The constant threat to their lives created a heightened state of dependence on their captor. Every word, every gesture from Olsen carried immense weight, dictating their reality within the confines of the vault. This extreme dependence, coupled with the prolonged exposure to their captor, would set the stage for a psychological phenomenon that would soon shock the world. As the hours turned into days, the atmosphere within the bank vault began to change in ways that were both subtle and profound. A startling shift began to occur within the confines of the bank vault. The initial terror that gripped the hostages started to morph into something unexpected. The hostages, initially terrified of Olsen, found themselves in a situation where their emotions were in constant flux, started to develop a complex and unexpected bond with their captor. This bond was not born out of mutual respect or shared values, but rather from the intense and unique circumstances they found themselves in. This wasn't a case of shared values or common interests. It was a bond forged in the crucible of fear, dependence, and the basic human need for connection, however warped, in the face of overwhelming adversity. The hostages were in a state of constant anxiety, their lives hanging in the balance. It was a bond forged in the crucible of fear, dependence, and the basic human need for connection, however warped, in the face of overwhelming adversity. The psychological pressure was immense, and in such a high-stress environment, the human mind seeks any form of stability it can find. Olsen, despite his violent tendencies, displayed occasional acts of kindness towards his captives. These acts, though small, had a significant impact on the hostages' perception of him. He allowed them to make phone calls to their loved ones, offering words of comfort and reassurance. This gesture, though seemingly minor, provided a lifeline to the outside world and a glimmer of hope in an otherwise dire situation. He shared his food and water with them, ensuring their basic needs were met. In a situation where survival was uncertain, these acts of sharing took on a profound significance. These small acts of humanity, however twisted, created a powerful psychological effect on the hostages. They began to see Olsen not just as a captor, but as someone who could provide for their basic needs. The hostages, starved for any semblance of normalcy and desperate for survival, clung to these acts of kindness. In their minds, these small gestures became lifelines, symbols of hope and humanity in an otherwise bleak and terrifying situation. They began to see beyond Olsen's volatile exterior, perceiving him as their protector, the one person standing between them and certain death. This perception was not based on logic, but on the desperate need to find some form of stability and safety in an unpredictable and dangerous environment. The one person standing between them and certain death. This shift in perception was crucial for their mental survival, as it allowed them to find a sense of security, however fragile, in the midst of chaos. This perception, fueled by their desperate circumstances and their need to believe in the possibility of their own survival, laid the foundation for a psychological phenomenon that would later be known as Stockholm Syndrome. This syndrome is characterized by the hostages developing positive feelings towards their captor, sometimes even defending them, laid the foundation for a psychological phenomenon that would later be known as Stockholm Syndrome. This phenomenon has been the subject of much study and debate, as it challenges our understanding of human psychology and the ways in which people respond to extreme stress and trauma. The bond that formed between Olsen and his hostages was a testament to the complex and often contradictory nature of human emotions and relationships. The hostages' feelings towards Olsen were a mix of fear, gratitude, and a desperate need for connection. This complex emotional cocktail created a bond that was both fragile and resilient, a testament to the human spirit's ability to adapt and survive in the most challenging of circumstances. The story of Olsen and his hostages is a powerful reminder of the ways in which extreme situations can bring out both the best and the worst in people. It challenges us to think about the nature of human relationships and the ways in which we seek connection and security, even in the most unlikely of circumstances. In the end, the bond that formed between Olsen and his hostages was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the ways in which we can find hope and humanity, even in the darkest of times. It is a story that continues to captivate and challenge us, reminding us of the complexities of human emotions and the ways in which we respond to extreme stress and trauma. Laid the foundation for a psychological phenomenon that would later be known as Stockholm Syndrome. This phenomenon has been the subject of much study and debate, as it challenges our understanding of human psychology and the ways in which people respond to extreme stress and trauma. The bond that formed between Olsen and his hostages was a testament to the complex and often contradictory nature of human emotions and relationships. The hostages' feelings towards Olsen were a mix of fear, gratitude, and a desperate need for connection. This complex emotional cocktail created a bond that was both fragile and resilient, a testament to the human spirit's ability to adapt and survive in the most challenging of circumstances. The story of Olsen and his hostages is a powerful reminder of the ways in which extreme situations can bring out both the best and the worst in people. It challenges us to think about the nature of human relationships and the ways in which we seek connection and security, even in the most unlikely of circumstances. In the end, the bond that formed between Olsen and his hostages was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the ways in which we can find hope and humanity even in the darkest of times. It is a story that continues to captivate and challenge us, reminding us of the complexities of human emotions and the ways in which we respond to extreme stress and trauma. The term Stockholm Syndrome was coined following the credit bank and robbery to describe the seemingly irrational attachment hostages can develop for their captors. This phenomenon was first observed in 1973, during a 6-day standoff in Stockholm, Sweden, where hostages began to exhibit a surprising sense of loyalty and affection towards their captors. It's a complex psychological response to a traumatic experience, often characterized by feelings of empathy, sympathy, and even loyalty towards the very individuals holding them captive. These emotions can be bewildering, both to the hostages themselves and to outside observers, as they seem to defy logic and reason. This paradoxical reaction, far from being a sign of weakness, is often a testament to the human psyche's remarkable ability to adapt and survive under duress. The mind, when faced with extreme stress and fear, can employ extraordinary measures to protect itself, even if those measures seem counterintuitive. Imagine being trapped in a situation where your life hangs by a thread, completely at the mercy of another human being. The constant threat of violence, the uncertainty of the future, and the isolation from the outside world can create an environment where the mind seeks any form of stability and control. Your survival, your very existence, hinges on their whims and decisions. Every action, every word, every gesture is scrutinized as you try to navigate the perilous dynamics of your captivity. In such a high-stakes environment, the mind's primary goal is to ensure survival, and it will use any means necessary to achieve that end. In such a scenario, your mind, hardwired for survival, instinctively seeks ways to cope, to find a glimmer of hope in the face of despair. This might involve identifying with your captors, understanding their motivations, and even empathizing with them as a way to reduce the immediate threat they pose. Stockholm Syndrome, in many ways, is a coping mechanism, a way for the captive's mind to navigate the treacherous terrain of captivity. By forming a psychological bond with their captors, hostages can create a sense of connection and predictability in an otherwise chaotic and terrifying situation. By aligning themselves with their captors, by finding common ground, however tenuous, hostages can alleviate some of the psychological terror of their situation. This alignment can manifest in various ways, such as showing understanding, offering sympathy, or even assisting the captors in small ways, all in an effort to humanize themselves and reduce the likelihood of harm. This doesn't mean they condone or approve of their captors' actions. It's a desperate attempt to make sense of an incomprehensible situation and increase their chances of survival. The mind's ability to adapt in such extreme circumstances is a testament to human resilience and the will to live, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable odds. Understanding Stockholm Syndrome helps us appreciate the complexities of human psychology and the lengths to which the mind will go to protect itself in the face of danger.